the authors of Resolution 24 please present their author speeches?
Fellow delegates, we, the citizens of Cameroon, are asking for help with this problem that is growing all throughout Africa and the world. While our beautiful continent of Africa has more than 2,000 spoken languages and dialects, more than 300 of that total are endangered. Globally, we are slowly focusing on a small collection of languages in order to communicate with citizens from other countries. Yet our citizens and citizens across Africa are starting to lose part of their identity, their language. To try to preserve these endangered languages, we are hoping to partner with the United Nations and other groups that already exist to preserve the languages of Africa and eventually the world. To tackle this large problem, we are suggesting a 5-step plan.
After the approval of our resolution, our first 3 steps will be to outline a region we will call the African Language Global Region, partner with Google in the Endangered Language Project to identify languages in this region that are endangered, and then travel to, record, and upload these endangered languages. When requested, we are asking the UN to provide transportation and/or military protection to safely escort these Google and UN personnel to and from the locations when necessary. Our 4th step will be to provide access to citizens of our country and the world. At our expense, the University of Yaoundé will create a free-to-use education program designed to teach these African endangered languages to any person wishing to learn more about these rich languages of Africa. Our final step will be to expand this program throughout the African Language Global Region by helping to develop similar language education programs throughout Africa. And when the program is successfully established and economically viable in this first global region, we wish to have the UN create and develop and expand this program to 5 other global regions.
I ask you to think about our country, I ask you to think about your country and what your culture means to you. All of our countries in here are very unique. It is our goal to have the UN, Google, and the Endangered Languages Project help preserve something that makes each country unique, their languages. Thank you for your time and your support to help us save that language.
The chair takes the author's speech as a speech in favor. Is there a speech in opposition to begin debate? The chair recognizes the delegate from Belize.
This program is rooted in good intentions, but I do not believe there will be enough students from the one university to run a full-fledged education program in each country that is expected to run over 1,000 languages.
The chair recognizes that as a speech in opposition. Is there a speech in favor? The chair recognizes the delegate from Bhutan.
Madam President, Dr. Rossi from the nation of Bhutan. As the last surviving Buddhist nation, Bhutan knows how hard it can be to preserve cultural as well as language. In fact, the United Nations is currently preserving 6,000 indigenous languages, but has mentioned how they still have more languages that they need to get to. And this resolution would definitely help in doing so. Google is also the perfect partner. For example, they respect a nation's culture by showing boundaries on their maps in the way that that nation views those boundaries, making a perfect partner for the United Nations. And language is the first barrier to peace, because we need to be able to communicate in order to solve our differences. This resolution will increase peace and prosperity by allowing indigenous and baby communities to communicate with world leaders. I hope one day, years from now, my descendants will not only be able to say, "Hey Google, help us save the language," but also ask Alexa to play Despacito.
Will the delegates please come back to order? The chair recognizes that as a speech in favor. Is there a speech in opposition? The chair recognizes the delegate from Cambodia.
Madam President, Ricky Whelan of Cambodia. Google is slowly becoming a powerful company. Therefore, this resolution only adds to the power and money of Google.
The chair recognizes that as a speech in opposition. Is there a speech in favor? The chair recognizes the delegate from Cameroon.
Madam President, I'm in favor for this resolution because there is no negative effect for this resolution, in which we are supporting countless languages just throughout our country and eventually the world.
The chair recognizes that as a speech in favor. Is there a speech in opposition to end debate? The chair recognizes the delegate from Bulgaria.
Madam President, Kotecher from Bulgaria. I am opposed to this resolution because as a third world country, I believe matters such as sustainable goals, 6, clean and sustainable water, 3, good health and well-being, 2, zero hunger, and 1, no poverty, are more important than the issue you're tackling right now.
The chair recognizes that as a speech in opposition to end debate. Would the authors like to present any closing comments?
It appears that many of you have positive comments to say, yet I am sure some of you are still on the fence about this project. But I ask you why? We are not asking the UN to fund the logistics of the project, as that is something that Google and the Endangered Languages Project will be doing. As for funding the educational program of Yaoundé, that is an expense that our country will be funding. So really, we are just asking that the UN provide occasional transportation and protection when needed to carry out this project. Overall, this is a small price to pay to record and preserve the many languages of Africa, and eventually the world. If we don't act now, it will soon be too late, and we will start to slowly lose parts of our humanity throughout the world. As you have this time to caucus, I would like you to think of other countries and just not your country. Thank you for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.